Well, I've always been a musician. I've played the piano by ear since I was 4. And so when I came to Atlanta originally, I did a lot of music, singing and playing in clubs and restaurants. And I also got involved in studio singing. I did a lot of backup vocals for record albums and for commercials. Did a lot of commercial jingle singing. And that was back in the day when 4 or 6 people would actually go into the studio together. Amazing, I know. We're talking the dark ages here. And we'd all, 4 or 6 people would stand around, 1, 2, or 3 mics, whatever, and sing the jingle, just live. And one day the voiceover talent didn't show up. So the owner of the studio, Doppler Studios here in Atlanta, which is still going strong, it's a great place. The owner at the time was Pete Caldwell. And he called me over and he said, Susan, come over here. You don't have an accent. Come over here and read this. So I said, oh, I can do this. And so I got some voice coaching and I got an agent, and that was the beginning of that. So it was a very happy accident, actually. I think that, I had enough credentials just being on a lot of commercials as a singer. And so after I did the voice coaching, I just went to Atlanta Models and Talent, which was the biggest agency at the time. And they took me on. I don't really know, even to this point, how greatly it's impacted my career. It took me 2 whole years to reveal the fact that I was Siri, because I couldn't really decide what I wanted to do about the information. I could look at both sides of the equation, because one of the advantages to being a voiceover talent in the digital age is anonymity. Unless you are auditioning for people who already know you. And, if you're auditioning locally, people will know you. But so many auditions are not local these days. And so people don't know who you are, where you're from, what you look like, how old you are, all of those things. Kind of like the TV show The Voice. They're judging you solely on your audition and solely on your voice. And I thought, well, if I reveal myself as Siri, all of a sudden, people are going to know who I am. And it could affect my work. So I'll have to say that revealing myself as Siri it's really been fun. It's led to a lot of things that I would not have been able to do had it not for the notoriety of being Siri. Oh yes, we all audition. Yes, we audition all the time. Yeah, yes. Actually, it was actually much easier in the past because the system was in place. The producer, the writer, the director would go to the agent and say, give me your top 5 or 10 women in this category or men in this category. And you would audition against, like 9 people maybe. You'd have a really, really good shot of winning that audition. Now that everything is done, via email, and because of just the breakdown of the industry and how there's so much non-union work, that everything used to be union too. It would go through the agent, it would go through the union, everything was just hunky-dory, you just get all these checks, and it was a beautiful thing. And now that it's all been sort of broken down, as everything has been by the web, you don't even really know where your audition is going, if it's even being heard. You don't know how many hundreds of people you may be auditioning against. And so it's really become kind of a crapshoot. It's kind of astounding. So, auditioning has always been a part of the job. I was never one of those talent who would call the agent and would say, well, did I get the job? Well, who got the job? I figured, if I got the job, they'll call me. So, I've never believed in doing that. But more and more, auditioning is not really the fun part of the industry. You have to do it. It takes a lot of time, and now that we have to do our own auditions on the computer ourselves, and most people want the audition debriefed, so you're really putting a great investment of time into something that, you've got sometimes the odds of buying a lottery ticket. That's how much it's changed. It's just the numbers. And nowadays we're competing not only against anybody who has a computer and a decent recording device. We're competing against Julia Roberts doing Nationwide Insurance, Susan Sarandon doing Tylenol, John Hamm with American Airlines. So all these celebrities are doing voiceover work now. So it's tough. It's a tough industry now. Well, the thing is that there are a lot of advantages to doing it nowadays. First of all, you can get some really excellent recording equipment. When I first put my booth in, it cost me $15,000, because I built the booth to be, pretty soundproof and had all this wonderful, top of the line equipment. And now you can actually go on the web and buy some recording equipment that plugs into your iPhone. So there you go. You can be you can be a professional voiceover talent for less than $1,000. So it doesn't get much better than that, So there are a lot of advantages. There are two sides of the coin, as there always are, So I think what I would do is start off with the very simple, easy equipment that you can buy now. And of course, I can't remember the name of this piece of technology, but look it up on the web. The newest, this is quite new. I believe it was introduced in August. This latest piece of technology that plugs right into your iPhone and is studio quality sound. Now, of course, you'll need to get yourself a microphone and that sort of thing. But for not a huge investment, you don't have to build your own studio. And also, as far as ISDN goes, that's a very old technology. It was first introduced in 1995. And it didn't really take hold. I didn't really start using it a lot until 96 or even 97. And I still use it now because some people consider it, that they like the quality of that better than some of the systems that you can use over the web, like Source Connect or IPDTL. And so that should be an encouraging thing for people who want to go into voiceover, because basically all you have to do is control your environment. If worse comes to worse, you can get in a closet. And interestingly enough, if you go on the web, there's a documentary out now called The Unseen, and it's about promo talent and the guys that do all the movie trailers. And there's a video of Bo Weaver doing a promo in his car. He's got his laptop and he's got his little shotgun mic doing his promo. So, it's a brand new ballgame. It's a brand new ballgame. The thing is, you can't be discouraged. If you really, really want to do it, you'll do it. You'll figure out a way. I would highly recommend getting voice coaching. And for anybody that wants to go on my website and contact me, I have a little document with some suggestions of how to get into the business. So you can look up all this stuff on the web. There's a company called Sweetwater. I'm sure they have all this stuff. But just look up. There's a sphere that I believe goes over the microphone. And that really controls the room sound, because that's the thing that makes the sound bad, is if you're in a room and you've got this, and the sound is just bouncing off the walls and it just sounds like you're in a cave or something. You want to control the sound and make it more present. And so you do that by cutting out all that extraneous space. So, put a blanket. I mean, I remember the very first thing I ever did at home before I built my studio. I was just in my office and I just got these baffles and I put blankets over it and it worked. I'm really not sure what to tell people. I would have to say, if you're just starting out, if you join some of these web production companies like Voice123 or Voices.com, the advantage to that is now there's a lot of really amateur stuff on there, but you will get a ton of auditions, and that's what you need. You need practice, because above anything else is you have to be confident about what you're doing. So therefore, it's important that you learn the skills and you get practice. That's how you get the skills, is practicing. And also, I highly recommend a vocal coach, because there are some little tricks, that you can learn to help you get on your way. But as far as, I'm a union member, and I believe in what the union stands for. I believe in the premise. Unfortunately, the union has a really tough time keeping up with the way the internet and technology has completely devalued the business. So it's a real quandary. It's a real quandary. Now, if you're in New York and LA, there's, 90% of the time is going to be union work. But I, for instance, live in a right to work state. And of all the auditions I see that come, into my computer, I'd have to say 90% are non-union. And so, I pass on those. Well, for me, I'm at the point where I just know myself personally and the types of habits that, that I need to do to protect my voice. I think, first of all, you really do need to protect your voice. That means, no smoking, not very much alcohol, keep away from the, dairy products and sugar, that kind of thing, and no fun, have no fun is what I'm saying. And, of course, stay away from smoke and all that kind of, any kind of irritant. And as far as, the voice, it's kind of, it's a muscle too. And if you don't use it, it's just going to atrophy and it's going to be harder to use. So you do have to exercise it. So I recommend, reading aloud as much as you can practice. The better you can read, the better you're going to be able to read copy, and especially if you can read stories or if you can read novels or magazine articles aloud, things that aren't really written to be read aloud. So the sentences are long and complicated. If you can get through that, you can get through anything. So that's practice, I guess. Yes, there are so many different areas. And now people tend to do demos for each type of area. You'll have a commercial demo, you can have an animation demo, you have a narration demo, perhaps a promo demo, an on-hold messaging demo. There's, and then there are like medical narrations, things like that are very technical. So, there are a lot of opportunities out there and the more digital voices they have, the more opportunities there are going to be too, because, there are voices everywhere. Well, of course, union is almost always going to pay better than non-union. And especially if it's broadcast and rebroadcast, you'll get paid again. So, the thing is, if all you're thinking about is getting paid for it, it's not a good bet because it's like acting. If you've ever seen a documentary about, I think it was called That Guy in That Thing, and it was about character actors that everyone recognizes because you see them in movies everywhere, but you don't really know their names. Well, they have a lot to say about acting. And one guy said that he was involved in, I think it was 3 or 4 TV series at one time. And he just thought, all right, I'm golden, everything, I'm set. I'm just set for life. And, one by one, they kind of dropped off, or his character got killed off or something. And he didn't have another job for 18 months. So that's the nature of the business. And it's a very fickle thing. And you just don't know, it's very kind of trend oriented, and so you have to try to keep up with what's going on. And, the thing is, don't quit your day job. The key is how much you really, really want it. They tell stories about Madonna living in her car and stuff like that. She really, really wanted it. She had the huge ambition gene, and if you don't have that, then, but with the cost of the low cost of recording equipment now, you can basically afford to kind of just do it every now and then, find another job and do that now and then, and you might get lucky. Well, all I can say is it's a really fun industry. It's, you never know what you're going to be doing. Every job is different. And so I would say that's wonderful. It's allows you a lot of free time, creative time. So I guess that would be the most inspirational thing. And you get to work with other creative people. Not so much as in the past, because we all used to gather in the studio and interact and work off each other. And now we're mostly just, sitting there in our little booths talking into the microphone, imagining. Yeah, it's tricky. It really is tricky. I haven't decided if I think you should really worry over an audition or if you just slap down, keep the first one that sounds good to you. It kind of depends on the day as to how I treat that. But as far as overcoming the fear, I think the more confidence you have, the less fear you're going to have, and the more confidence you will get by being prepared. Being able to really, hone your craft, take some lessons, learn how to do it, and that will help you. All of this stuff is pretty scary because everything is new and different. It's like, uh-oh. And, but the more confidence you have in yourself, the less fear you'll have. And it just keeps getting better as you keep going.